France showed up at this World Cup with a scary attack. Mbappe, Dembélé, Olise, Barcola. 16 goals in 6 games. Looked unstoppable. Looked unfair. So here's the question. How did that squad walk into a semifinal and score 0? Spain didn't just beat France Tuesday night in Dallas. They humiliated them, made the world's best attack look like strangers. But here's the twist. France didn't just take the loss quietly. They came out swinging at the referee. Their coach stood at the podium and asked if the official was even good enough for a semifinal. He raged about the penalty. He hinted at other bad calls. Suddenly, nobody was talking about Spain's brilliance anymore. Everyone was asking, did France get robbed? So did they? Or is this the weakest excuse of the whole summer? Let's break down what really happened. Start with the football, because it says everything. Spain won 2-0, and honestly, that flatters France. This was total control from start to finish. Oyarzabal buried a first-half penalty. Porro made it 2. And around those goals, Spain owned everything. The ball, the tempo, the game. Rodri looked like his old Ballon d'Or self, fresh off ACL surgery, running the middle like it was practice. Spain are unbeaten in 37 straight games since March 2024, reigning European champions. Their coach called them the best team on earth. Watching that game, who could argue? France, the favorites coming in, never found the foothold. And that terrifying front line? Mbappe's only real moment was a free kick blasted over the bar. That was it. Nothing else. Name them all, because they all went missing. Dembélé looked like a spectator. Olise, one of the tournament's best creators, barely touched the ball near goal. Doué and Barcola flashed a little and vanished. This group had terrorized 5 straight opponents. Spain made them look average by never letting them near the ball. You can't be the scariest attack alive while you're stuck chasing shadows all night. And that's all France did. Rodri and Fabian Ruiz ran circles around France's midfield. Every time France won the ball back, they gave it right away. Spain didn't need fireworks. They just needed the ball. And keeping the ball is what they do better than anyone alive. Now, here's what France wanted you talking about instead. The penalty. First half, still 0-0, a cross comes into France's box. Digne tries to clear it, spins around and kicks straight into Yamal sprinting in from behind him. Referee Ivan Barton pointed to the spot instantly. Oyarzabal scored. France trailed for the first time all tournament. Afterward, Deschamps couldn't drop it. He stood there and asked the same question over and over. France had the bigger names. Spain had the better team. That gap just knocked out the tournament favorites and sent them into a public meltdown. So no, this wasn't a VAR scandal, no matter how hard France sold it that way. The real scandal was watching the most talented attack on earth do nothing for 90 minutes, then blame everyone except themselves. That's not how champions lose. That's a team with everything and no plan falling apart. Was Deschamps right to bring up the ref, or was this the weakest exit from a favorite all tournament? Let me know down below. And stick around. Spain now waits for the winner of England versus Argentina, and that final is going to be huge. That's the captain admitting France beat themselves. So when the coach stands up later blaming officials, he's not just wrong about the match. He's contradicting his own captain, who'd already taken the blame minutes earlier. One man owned the loss. The other looked for someone else to carry it. And then a third French voice added a third story. Ryan Cherki, after watching his team get outclassed, said France are still better than Spain. So count it up in that French locker room. Coach blamed the ref, captain blamed the coach, another player blamed reality itself. 3 players, 3 different stories, 0 accountability. That's the real shambles here. Losing a semifinal happens to great teams. That's normal. But a team this stacked losing, then blowing up into a public blame game on live TV? That's not a bad night. That's a collapse. Most of the squad skipped media duties completely, risking fines. Even their conduct after the game was a mess. So what actually beat France if not the ref? It's simple, it's tactical, and Mbappe basically said it himself, which is why the ref blaming rings so hollow. France built their whole team around attack. All that talent up front sat on top of a 2-man midfield, Tchouaméni and Rabiot, that got buried by Spain's 3. For 5 games, incredible attacking talent hid that weakness because weaker teams couldn't punish it. Spain isn't a weaker team. Spain controls the ball better than anyone alive, and they walked straight through that soft midfield and never let go. France's fullbacks got exposed. Their forwards, deadly in open space, did nothing once they were starved of the ball and forced to defend. The old worry about France being too front-loaded, buried under 16 goals, came roaring back the second they met a team that could dominate possession. They lost this game in midfield, not on the penalty spot, and their own captain said so out loud. Which brings us to the real damning part. If Mbappe's right and France got outnumbered in midfield, that's on the coach. So Deschamps blaming the ref isn't just weak, it's a cover-up for his own mistake. He got the setup wrong against the one team France couldn't afford to get it wrong against. His own captain called it out immediately, and instead of owning it, he reached for the oldest excuse in sports. For a coach who's led France 14 years and won a World Cup in 2018, it was a small, sad way to go out. And it really was the end of an era, which makes it sting more. This was Deschamps' last tournament, with Zidane expected to take over next. This semifinal was his last shot at a second title. Instead, he gets third place in Miami on Saturday, a game nobody wants, as a farewell. 14 years, one World Cup, and it ends with him pointing at a referee who got the call right. It's a strange, flat way to end one of the greatest managerial runs in French history, and people will argue for months whether Deschamps, always accused of playing it too safe, finally got exposed by a team with a clearer identity. His golden generation of forwards never got beaten this tournament. They got outsmarted. And the man meant to fix that spent his last night talking about the ref. Spain, meanwhile, march on to the final at MetLife Sunday, one win from a second World Cup. On this form, you'd be brave to bet against them, whoever they face. De La Fuente summed it up with a line that doubled as a shot at France's superstars. Then he sounded exactly like one. You don't get outplayed for 90 minutes with the best forwards on the planet, then stand at a podium blaming the man with the whistle. That's not analysis, that's dodging. Everyone saw right through it. Spain's coach, Luis de la Fuente, cut it down in one line. Here's a detail that really wrecks France's story. Spain's own Rodri said Yamal got fouled again and again with nothing given. 10 or 15 fouls where the kid goes to the ground. So if the ref leaned any direction, it leaned toward France. The team with the real complaint that night was Spain. And here's another detail that kills the ref was against us story. Late in the first half, Barcin reversed the call for France, waving off a foul on Dembélé near Spain's box, even with Spanish players protesting. So this wasn't one-sided officiating all night. Calls went both ways, including one in France's favor. Yes, picking a CONCACAF ref for a semifinal this big raised eyebrows, but raised eyebrows aren't a scandal, and one correct penalty in minute 19 doesn't explain a whole team producing nothing for 90 minutes. But the referee complaints aren't even the worst part, because while the coach blamed the ref, his own captain was blaming the coach, publicly, minutes after the whistle. Mbappe, the captain, stood in front of cameras and torched Deschamps' tactics. He said, "That's the whole scandal. A correct penalty that maybe needed a second look, and it happened in minute 19 at 0-0. It didn't steal a game France was winning. France were second best the entire match. That penalty didn't beat them, it just gave them something to point at. That's why Deschamps going after the ref is so weak. It's the whole mess in one move, because in the same breath, he admitted the real truth. He said it was mostly on his team. He admitted France were technically outclassed by a smarter side. He even said this, word for word. So let's actually look at this penalty, because it's where France's whole complaint falls apart. Was it a penalty by the rules? Yes. Clear contact in the box on a player who just touched the ball. Was it a little harsh? Sure. Yamal didn't fully have the ball and Digne was just trying to clear it. But the call itself was correct, and even France's own defender, Maxence Lacroix, one of the only two players who talked after the game, didn't call it wrong. He just said this,